So, Todd, where do you want to start today?
Where do you want to start? It's your interview.
Probably the big news, Joey Martin. What is the update around that?
Yeah, so Joey Martin is moving on to play for the Graz 99ers in the what I would call the EBO League, what I think they call the Bet at Home Ice Hockey League now. Graz is obviously in Austria. It's one of the teams we played in the Champions Hockey League a couple of years ago. So yeah, it's big news. It's a great opportunity for Joe, and fire away. Ask me what you want to know about it.
Well, with that, how much is, because obviously we've seen Bound go to Graz, is there that sort of like working relationship now after the CHL games? Is that like a destination that players went and thought, this is a great place, I'd love to go, and you're kind of like, well, it's also a good opportunity?
I think I don't think it's necessarily a place just because I think it's just coincidence that Boundsy went there and Joe. Maybe Deese, our old equipment manager, he's there. Maybe he's head of recruitment there or something. I don't know. But no, in all seriousness, it's Joe got presented with this opportunity. I think fans will be disappointed because he's so popular. He's our captain. I personally think Joe's been the best player in the league the last 6 years. His individual accomplishments speak for themselves, and obviously he's been a huge part of our success. And a guy like that gets opportunities. I think when you step back and you think like we manage, in minor league sports like ours, you don't usually have guys that stick around for 6 years. And we had what I would say is the best player in the league for 6 years. And we've been very lucky to have him. Opportunities come to these guys all the time. I've had experience in Belfast where, we rarely had imports that stayed, 6 years, probably more like 2-3 years kind of thing. And I think it's a testament to what we've done in Cardiff and also, the success that the guys have had enjoyed together. But we're happy for Joe. We're happy to support this and he deserves it. He's done a lot for this organization. He's led the charge on and off the ice. He's been a leader, in the locker room with the fans. He's been our leading scorer almost every year. He's a great person, and I think people will miss Joey Martin. But he's one player on a great team, and I'm happy for him. We obviously have a personal relationship. For me, I was talking to him the other day, and I said, it's just, it's sad that you're leaving, but it's sad that you're leaving because we like you so much as a guy, and stepping aside from what he's done on the ice and what he does for the fan base, like he's a good person, and you build up these personal relationships over the time that you spend with each other, and yeah, I'm going to miss him. I'm going to miss Joey, and I think a lot of people are. But what an opportunity! Graz have presented a great opportunity. He went to Stavanger last year. Stavanger. I apologize to the Norwegian fans if I pronounce your name wrong, but and he had a good season, and he probably opened up the eyes of a lot of European teams, and because our league isn't, it's not always looked at as a first choice to recruit from. And Joey's done tremendous things here, and we probably had him 4 years longer than we expected to have him. So we wish him well. We love him, and hopefully one day he's back and maybe finishes his career in Cardiff.
Well, when you look back to when you came in 2014, obviously you had to put that team together at quite short notice. When you brought Joey Martin in, did you expect him to have the amount of impact on not just the club, but the city that he did? And do you expect him to even stay as long as he did?
No, definitely not. You never know with players, right? Because that year if there was ever a documentary being made, it should have been that first season. We'd get a name, we'd do, Lorda would do a bit of video, Franny maybe would do a bit of video, and then it was just like, okay, get him in. And I think Lorda sort of slotted Joe in as maybe our second line center, and before you know it, that line of Joey Martin, Jake Morissette, and Andrew Lord as a player coach were probably the best line in the league, and I think, there's a lot of guys that had seasons that you never expected to have, and Joe was one of them. Like and as the season progressed, we're like, man, this guy's good. I didn't know he'd be this good, and then from there he just kind of took off. Writing up the list of accomplishments today when I'm trying to write the press release, and it's impressive. 5 times he was first team All-Star, 2 times Player of the Year, 3 times Forward of the Year. It's impressive, but it's exciting. Like in sport, fans get really attached to players, like I said, but it feels like it's a new era in the new era. We keep talking about like when we took over the Cardiff Devils, ownership and management and Andrew Lord as coach, that was the new era of the Cardiff Devils. Well, this feels like this all over again. People ask me like, what was Scaldy's reaction? His captain, isn't coming back, and he's like, he was never my captain. Like I would love to have Joey. This is what he said. I'd love to have Joey Martin back, but I never had him to not have him. So it's for him. It's just like great. So okay, so we move on. We find a guy to replace Joey Martin, and we find a guy to replace all the other guys that we've lost over the years. We didn't stop winning when Andrew Hotham left. And Andrew Hotham to me was maybe the best defenseman ever in this league. And then all of a sudden, wow, Gleason Fournier steps out of nowhere and goes from being a great player to being a tremendous player and being the best defenseman the last 2 years. So yeah, I think for myself and for Jared and for Neil Francis, we're kind of like the hockey operations side of things, and it's exciting. It's fun. We love building teams, and in years past we've sort of built a reputation of being this club that maybe makes 3 or 4 changes in the off season, or 3 or 4 additions to a really great core, and a lot of guys have left because of COVID. A lot of guys retired, and we're looking at probably the biggest recruitment drive we've ever had here, and it's exciting. It's fun. It's always fun building a hockey team. It really is.
When you think back to how Joey Martin stayed for as long as he did and how many core guys you managed to keep, how much are you proud of that being a true testament of the culture that you create around the club to be able to have these players who want to come back year after year?
Yeah, and I totally agree. I think it is a testament to what we've done, not just the winning, but like the way we treat the players and the respect level that they have for this league and for this team. It's kind of addictive. Winning is addictive. We always talk about how addictive winning is, and so you win together that first year, and then people want to come back, and I think that's what kept them coming back, because it's almost like like one of them comes back, and then they all want to come back because they want to win together again, and we won a lot together, and so yeah, so our job, I guess, is to find that next core group of guys that want to start building another championship winning team.
And on that note as well, obviously, new coach coming in, Jared Scaldy. How are things going on the recruitment end right now?
It's off the charts right now. It really it's nuts, and there's so many people, so many names coming across our desk. It feels like you could build 3 teams over, and I think every team in our league is the same way. There's a lot of players out there that there's a lot of guys that took a year off from playing. There's a lot of guys that played and maybe took less money elsewhere to just get a season of hockey in. But I mean, collectively, all our phones are ringing off the hook, and Jared has a whole different list of players and a network of coaches and agents that he's worked with over the years, different than what we had before. So we're getting names that maybe we haven't seen before, and I'm not saying one's better than the other. I'm not downplaying the list that Lordo had. It's just you have different networks, right? So maybe Scaldy goes back to the guys he knew when he was a coach in Wilkes-Barre, or maybe when he was back in Cincinnati, and the hockey world is a very small place. So like you talk to a few guys and they've heard great things about Cardiff, and that's the nice thing to hear. They always say, "Oh, we've heard about your league," and I mean, I got to be honest. 8 years ago, when people were like, "I heard about your league," it's kind of like, I heard it's kind of a goon league. There's a lot of tough guys, and it was never like, "Oh, I've heard about your league. It's got a great reputation. It's an upcoming league. It's doing well. It's in the Champions League," that kind of thing. And that's what we hear now, right? We hear guys, "Oh, great, you have school programs. Oh, we've heard great things about your league." And it's not one team or 2 teams. It's like, oh, your league in general. So that's a huge positive for the league in general. And I got to say, like, this off season, it's renewed my faith in working together as a collective league. The teams have worked tremendously well together.
And with that as well, you've obviously just returned from the Elite Series. From your own personal experience, how was that for you?
Awesome. I love hockey. I love watching hockey. It's funny. The players would always they'd see, because I watched every single game live, right? So that's a lot of hockey. I had like 31 games in 5 weeks, and they said, "Are you sick of it?" And I'm like, "No, you don't get sick of watching hockey. Like, I don't." And even the weeks where you thought like, "Oh, it's dragging on. Oh, we got 2 games on Sunday," it's still better than doing most other things. I'd rather be watching a live game than another recording of another game from years past or whatever. It was so fun. It really was. I was glad that the way it came about was the teams running, the 4 English teams asked me to be involved. Tony Smith from Sheffield and Neil Black from Nottingham, they asked me to oversee the tournament, and I was very happy to do that. and it was, I mean, it was tough for 5 weeks being, because you're away from your family and your kids and all that kind of stuff. But we, you know, it was just, I think it was so important for the league. You know, I would have much rather my team be in it, but if the team couldn't be there, I was glad to be a part of it, because I think it was so important for the fans to see hockey and see a return to hockey and see the commitment from the teams to get going again. And for the players, they were great. Like you'd expect 100 guys testing every single day. You'd think there'd be some complaints. There was nothing. All very positive. The outcome was tremendous. Like everyone, I kind of thought Sheffield was going to walk with it, and that kind of was a worry at first, because they were dominating the first few games and most of the tournament. And then Nottingham, you could just see them building, and you could almost see like they were getting used to the systems that they were putting in place. And there was great stories the whole way through. The young Brits, so many of them got more ice time, and it was exciting to watch them. And it's always interesting watching the players from other teams play more, because like, I mean, you know, there's guys that I see, like a good example, like I'll think of a young guy like Ollie Betteridge in Nottingham. I see him play in Cardiff 3 times. I don't watch, I watch the away games. Panthers don't webcast, so I see Ollie Betteridge 3 or 4 times a year. And I saw him play like 12 games, and I had a new respect for Ollie Betteridge. I love the guy. Love him as a player. Great kid. You know, just one of those guys. Like I'm not trying to sign Ollie Betteridge in the future. I'm saying he will be a Panther for years to come, and their fan base should be so pumped, because he's a great person. He's the type of player you think, man, everyone would like that. And there's a lot of guys like that you got to see a lot of hockey. And you got to see how, you know, you're sitting behind the bench. You're seeing how they interact with their teammates. I love that stuff. It's interesting, but it was a lot of fun.
Well, I think after such a long time without any hockey in the UK, it really added excitement. And for yourself, we're recording this a couple of hours before the CHL draw.
Yeah.
That's another exciting moment for not only yourself, but the fans who've been desperate to see Cardiff Devils hockey. For yourself, are there any teams that really jump out as ones you want to draw?
Oh, it's a good question. I think, I don't have all the pots sitting in my head. I kind of sort of have teams that I'd like to go to. Ice Bear in Berlin would be just an amazing experience. I've been to the arena a couple times, and the setup is tremendous. I think it's the best setup in Europe. Like maybe Bern is as good, but Ice Bear, I think, takes a cake with the whole setup of where they are and everything. And Lausanne, Switzerland. If I'm saying Lausanne. Dr. Luke Piggott is living in Lausanne. That's where he left to take a non-hockey job, and I would love to catch up with Pigsy again, and I told him he'd be responsible for our owners / management pub crawl that we go on before CHL games. So I would love to get Lausanne so I could see Pigsy again.
Well, he's had a year to prepare for that. With the CHL, like the excitement that's around it, how much is that helping the recruitment as well, knowing that you've got the CHL to look forward to, and it is now a very well-established European tournament?
Yeah, it's the CHL is a very cool thing to be a part of. And the first year we did it, we didn't really know what to expect. You almost felt like it was an honor to be there, and you were the team that was just kind of there to make up the numbers and all that kind of stuff. And then you know, and a lot of these teams in Europe, they're not in it every year, you know, and you almost expect, there's a few teams that you see every year at the draw, and you get to know them. But we've been there for, you know, this will be our 4th time. It's so I feel like we get it now. We've had some success, and the constant joke with the CHL is that, like, you know, we are always drawn into the group of death. You know, so like the first year, I think we had 2 of the semifinalists in our group. Frölunda won it. The last year was 2 years ago. It was Frölunda and Mountfield both in our group. They both made the final. So, you know, we'd love a nice, easy group. Not that there are any groups. That's why it's called the Champions League. There's no easy groups. But yeah, if we could avoid Frölunda, I'd be a happy person. Växjö we've already been to twice, so maybe if we could avoid Växjö. But besides that, you're happy to go anywhere. It's a great learning experience. It's great for the players to experience playing against these top leagues and top teams, but it's also fun for us on the management side of things to see how they operate and see these different cities and see how their fan bases are. And that's what makes European hockey so cool. It's you know, it's I don't know. It's so neat to see how fans are across different countries and across different teams.
And for yourself then, obviously this is one of the first moments now that is really signaling the start of a new season. How exciting is it knowing that, you know, only a couple of months away, Cardiff Devils will be back on the ice?
Yeah, it's been a long time coming. The fans have been patient. The fans have been tremendous. The support we've had, and you know what, I said it when we were at the tournament before. I think it's a joined up approach this year. We're all competing on the ice, but I think it's more about getting back on the ice as a collective league. And the 10 teams have been working together for months now. We like everyone else, we have our weekly calls on Zoom, and it's we've got a lot done and a lot accomplished, and it's been it went from a lot of uncertainty to potential to more uncertainty, and now we feel like this is it. We're this is a normal off season now. Like May, signing players, meeting with sponsors, getting sponsorship back on track, getting ready for players to start arriving, that kind of thing. That's where we're at right now. We're in the middle of recruitment, and yeah, it's you can probably feel my energy and feel my excitement. Like I am pumped to be back, and it feels like the worst hopefully is behind us, and life is returning to a bit of normalcy, and yeah, it's the fans. I said fans across the Elite League, but specifically for the Devils fans, thank you so much. You guys have been so patient with us, but also the support has been tremendous, and I don't think people realize little things like buying raffle tickets and bidding on jerseys and coming to the sales we've had and buying merchandise and buying jerseys. That has kept us going. Like it's kept staff employed, and it's kept the organization going, and we're very lucky. We've had great support, and since the league announced the dates, the start dates, we've actually been selling more and more season tickets. We probably have 50 new season ticket holders, which I generally didn't expect, but they're coming in, and the people that maybe paused their payments before are calling to sign up again. So it's really positive around the Devils camp right now.
I suppose the tricky question then is obviously they need a rink to go into. Is there any sort of update around when that could potentially be reopening?
Yeah, well, I'm probably the wrong person to ask. You should probably ask Mark Trigford, because we're waiting for this tier 1. We've been told numerous times that we have to wait until Wales is into tier 1, which apparently is coming in June now. I got to be honest, I don't know what that means. I don't know what the difference between us and the English rinks are. The English rinks are open right now and have been open for some time. I think they've started having public skating back on May 17th. I can't really comment on Scotland because I don't really know what's happening in Scotland. But yeah, we would be ready to open. We would be open right now if we were kind of under the same rules as England right now. But I get Wales is being more cautious, and maybe that's the right approach. I can't really comment on that because I'm not informed enough to know the science behind it. But it feels like now we should be open. But fans and users of the ice rink, I think there's a lot of people think that like I'm personally responsible for keeping this thing closed. Like, come on, like of course I want to be open. I'm bored out of my mind down there, and we're down there every day. But we want to get back on the ice. We want the rink to be open. We want it to be, the buzz of a normal week at Ice Arena Wales, and but we can't go against the government guidelines. And I think let's say they said you can open tomorrow. We can't start the process of reopening until we know we can be open. So if they said you can open tomorrow, we'd be like, okay, well it's going to take us 4 to 6 weeks to be open because the ice has been out for over a year. We've turned on the plant, we've turned it off to make sure that everything's running, but like there are going to be teething issues. There's going to be something of, I don't know, one of the chillers needs a part or something like that. So we've turned them on to check all that. We have ordered some parts that are coming but like, call it 4 to 6 weeks. And people have to understand the finances of 4 to 6 weeks. Like 4 to 6 weeks of a fully open building without any income is basically what it is, right? We have to bring the staff back. We have to start the cleaning process, and we have to start putting the ice in. So we have to basically have full-time staff for 4 to 6 weeks. All those costs, all the costs of electricity and gas, and a fully functioning rink with absolutely no income. So you're talking, anywhere from 80 to 100,000 is the commitment that Ice Arena Wales has to put in. So that's a big amount to commit without absolutely being sure we can open. So if you remember last October, for about a 2 or 3 week period, there was a brief period where they said ice rinks can be open. It was like, you have to be closed, then you can be open. And everyone thought we would just open the doors right away. And we stayed shut, and we took a lot of heat for it then. But thank God we stayed shut, because 3 weeks later they said, oh, ice rinks have to close again. So had we started the process, we would have spent £60,000, and then 3 weeks later, before we'd even opened our doors, we would have been shut down again. So we'll be ready for the season, and I think like if we found out soon that we can be open, and if it's definite we can be open in June, then maybe we start the process in a week or two, and we get going, and we're open late June. But if it runs on and we aren't told that we can actually be open, and we get the word mid-June, it's 6 weeks later is August, and we will definitely be open for whatever hockey starts again. But I don't want to get people's hopes up and think that like if on June 17th we're in Tier 1, it means that June 18th we're open. It's just not going to happen like that. We are not a bowling alley or a leisure center that we just turn the lights on, wipe down the equipment, and get going. It's going to take us some weeks to get the ice back in and get the building back functioning as an ice rink.
Well, I suppose we'll end it on a more positive note with that. When the first game does happen, seeing all those familiar faces around the bar and in the stands as well, how much excitement is that going to be? Is there any sort of special plans to have like a celebration as a return to hockey?
Yeah, I think this whole season, I think the fans are going to feel like how much we've missed them and how much we need them. I think the players will have not that the players never, didn't appreciate fans in general, but I think players are going to really appreciate fans and really appreciate how much they put in, how the money they spend on them. Because you take out fans, and like I know a lot of leagues around Europe went ahead, but you take out fans, our league doesn't exist, right? We showed you, we shut down without fans, and people maybe don't realize that the income and the money spent by fans is what pays everyone's wages, And I think our commitment as an organization, we've already said like this, there will be pictures around the arena of celebrations with trophies and stuff. There'll be just as many pictures of fans, and we've already got this plan for our locker room about what we're gonna put in our locker room, so the guys remember what they're playing for and who they're playing for every single week. So that's all I'll really say on that. But yeah, expect big things, and it's honestly it's an exciting time. I'm very excited to work with Jared Scaldi. Everyone knows my relationship with Andrew Lord and how much I loved him as a coach and as a person. One of my closest friends, and that'll remain forever. And he's doing tremendous in Greenville. I think there's a lot of Devils fans like myself who've become large, huge supporters of the Greenville Swamp Rabbits. But like I'm excited to work with Jared, and it feels like it's weird because I've never met him face to face, but we talk almost every day, and throughout the whole interview process, throughout the last 8 months of weekly Zoom calls with him and phone calls almost every day, you get to know a guy pretty well, and he obviously has regular calls with the owners as well, and ownership is just as excited as we are. It's fun. It's fun building teams, and it's fun. This kind of stuff gets thrown at you all the time, and so like I think the to kind of circle back and finish it with Joey Martin, I think fans feel the impact of a player leaving more so than we do, in the sense that like we're prepared for this. This isn't my first year as a general manager running a team where a great player leaves or a coach leaves. Like I have experience in this, and experience is kind of the way that you can handle this. And I'm not stressed about replacing Joey Martin as a player, and I'm not saying you replace Joey. No one replaces Joey Martin, in the sense that I don't think we're going to find the next guy that's going to win 4 of the year 3 years in a row or whatever. But I think we can take the money that Joey made, and we can afford great players, and maybe it's spread out, maybe it's one guy, who knows? But it's fun and it's exciting, and just think of as a fan, I know the first thing people do when a new signing's announced is look them up on Elite Prospects and start Googling videos of them and all that kind of stuff. There's gonna be a lot of that happening this summer. It's not gonna be like 14 names that you already knew that were signed in late February, and we're just kind of rolling them out. Like people always laugh that we kind of announce every Friday. We don't have that many names to announce right now. We've got a handful. We've got one this week that's going to probably raise a few eyebrows, and like a really, really exciting one with NHL experience, and I think the fans are going to absolutely love this one, and I'm looking forward to getting that one out, and so are the owners. A bit of positive news after Joey's departure, but again, to finish with Joe knows how much we love him. Joe knows what we think of him, and I hope the fans understand that this is a great opportunity for Joe, and what we've got from him and what he's put into this organization is tremendous, and Cardiff will always have a special place in his heart, and he'll always have a special place in our heart, and you know, I think he'll be back at some point. I really do.
Well, that's perfect. That's a very nice way to end it as well. So thank you very much for joining us, Todd.
All right. Thank you.
Perfect.
Good.